We head deeper into southwestern Colorado in this video and visit the Alamosa yards of the Rio Grande Scenic Railroad. On the way there, I caught this Rio Grande Scenic Excursion train. The train was led by a pair of ex-New Jersey Transit GP40 FH2s. The consist has two full dome cars, and all of the cars are in Iowa Pacific's Illinois Central style livery. We then had our lunch in Cole Park, where DRGW 169 is on display. This narrow gauge locomotive is a T12 Class 460. This locomotive was built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works way back in 1883. It is 3 years younger than Colorado and Southern 191, the oldest surviving locomotive in Colorado. The locomotive operated until 1938 when it was restored for the World's Fair. Afterwards, in 1941, it was donated to the city of Alamosa, probably one of the first locomotives to be donated to a city. The car behind it is Business Car B1, which was used as a kitchen car. I could not find much information on this car. It probably was donated with the locomotive in 1941 and was on display with it at the World's Fair. I was able to find this image of the car in the 1930s. The other two cars are at the Durango and Silverton. Sister locomotive number 168 is at the Cumbres and Toltec Scenic Railroad after being acquired from Colorado Springs. And here are some pictures that I took of the plaques around the locomotive. Now we move on to the yards of the Rio Grande Scenic Railroad. This is one of the major storage facilities for Iowa Pacific. Behind the two heavyweights is an Amtrak Express reefer. The camera is facing the direction where most trains depart from. In this siding, there is an ex-Via Rail sleeper, probably ex-Canadian National, this blue business car I don't know where it's from, and this baggage car from the Minnesota Zephyr dinner train. And in the background you can see this old steam locomotive. This is ex-LS&I number 20. Number 20 was built by Alco in 1910 and ended up on the Rio Grande Railroad like its sister number 18. In 2006, number 20 and 18 went to the Mount Hood Railroad before coming to the Rio Grande Scenic in 2008. Unlike number 18, number 20 was not restored to operational condition. In 2019, after Iowa Pacific went bust, number 20 went to Allen, Texas to be on display. Behind the tender of number 20 were the tenders of their two other steam locomotives. The boxy one comes from number 18, which used to run on the Grand Canyon Railroad and which you probably recognize from I Love Toy Trains. And the round tender comes from Southern Pacific number 1744, an M6 Class 260 built in 1901. It has operated in Utah, Texas, and New Orleans. 1744 has since been acquired by the Niles Canyon Railroad for restoration. And here were the other cars parked down there. This is from a Google Street View. There are quite a few ex-Amtrak Express reefers down here in southwestern Colorado. On the other side of the crossing is F40PHR number 459, originally built for Amtrak as number 264 in 1977. Down this siding there's this Southern Pacific steel caboose, ex-Alaska Railroad generator car, another Iowa Pacific livery passenger car, and an SD 9043 Mac. I've actually seen number 30 in Kansas City at Mid-America Car back in 2012-2013. And here's a Google Street View of those same sidings with a pair of Minnesota Zephyr cars. And this car is a former Wabash car, number 1600. This car might have been built as Missouri Pacific 894 and ended up on the Illinois Central, then as a part of the Minnesota Zephyr dinner train. These two ex-Canadian National F9s were from the Carolina Southern Railroad. The B unit is one of the few ex-Canadian National F9s to still be in the Canadian National red and black. I also caught this light engine heading out of town with a P5 horn. The GP40FH-2 that was running light was number 4141. It was originally built in 1970 for the Rock Island Railroad as a standard GP40. This unit was rebuilt by the New Jersey Transit in 1989. These GP40FH-2s were also used on freights on the SLRG, hence why this locomotive was running light. There are some sightings outside of Alamosa with more ex-Amtrak Express reefers. I didn't know until researching this video in that nearby town Monte Vista there's a lot of historic rolling stock here too. But along US 160 at South Fork, Colorado, there are a lot of stored modern rolling stock too, ranging from covered hoppers, tankers, to open hoppers. Further down the highway are these stored cars. ATSF number 36 is an observation car that was likely used on an MOW train, and there's also this GE 44 tonner in the middle. This is Amalgamated Sugar number 1. I couldn't find any more info about this. And PPCX 6401 is an XZ board observation car with all its windows blanked out. There's also a 44-tonner wooden passenger car and steel caboose at the depot nearby for the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad, which offers speeder car rides. The cars last ran in 2016-ish. I also found during my research that Southern Pacific 7863, a B23-7, is also still in South Fork. Well, that does it for this video, but in my next video covering my vacation from 2017, we visit the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you know when it comes out.